This is a wooden racket. This is called the Wilson Jack Kramer Pro 7. This was a very popular racket back in the 70s. John McEnroe actually played with a racket similar to this. This was one of my rackets back in high school times, in the beginning of my first year of college. But what I like to demonstrate here is that this is the standard handle of a tennis racket. You'll see 8 sides, and these are called bevels. And basically, the reason we have bevels on the handle is because when you know, back in those days, there was a lot of emphasis on whether you should hold the racket like this, or turning it a little bit to the right, or a little more to the right, like that. And we had names for all this stuff. This was referred to as the continental grip. If you put the heel on the side over here, it would be called the eastern forehand. If you went more to the side, it was called the semi-western. And if you went really far to the bottom, it was called the western grip. So all these different bevels correspond to different names and whatnot. But what happened? John McEnroe, Bjorn Borg, back in the days of wooden rackets, they used to hold the racket with the heel of the hand outside the handle. And there's a benefit to that you can wrist better and you can control your shots much better. Borg, of course, was a baseliner, and he used to hold the racket with a western grip, and McEnroe had more of an eastern forehand or continental for his volleys. But in any case, as you know, tennis is becoming more and more powerful. So what happens when you swing really fast? The racket is going to want to come out of your hand. So what do? You tighten. So I thought of the idea that if I could have something here that could make it lock, then you would relax. And if you're relaxed, you'll be able to concentrate on hitting the shot instead of tightening. How many of you had the opportunity of hitting a beautiful shot after a second serve that is out? Yeah, that happened to you? Again, the serve comes out, is a fault, and you relax and you go poof, and it's a beautiful down the line shot. And you go, wow, what happened? You relaxed. Okay. So that's where the bump came about. And the way you do this is very easy. If you don't mind, Andrew, just hold on one cushion. There's 2 cushions to the bump, and you take out the coating, and you have a sticky part on one side, and one side is really thin, and the other side is more thick. Okay. You grab the thin side, pointing down like this, and again you press on it. And you go around the handle like this, and you're going to get to the point where you're actually going to overlap. You don't want it to overlap. When you get to that point, with the narrow edge, fingers like this, it just tears off really easily. All right, put them in. All right, then you grab the other one. You do the same exact thing. Take out the coating off. Thank you. And then this time, the thick part goes against the thick part over here. And you do the same thing. You go around like this. And you get to the very edge. And there you go. You tear it off. Now you have the bump created. After you do that, then you go ahead and do the overgrip like I showed you earlier. And you hold the racket with the heel of your hand outside the handle. Now this thick part here is going to fit in the center of the palm, and if you have to drink water from your hand, you will drink water from here. That means this is the most concave part of your hand, and this is the part where the hand goes in the handle. It doesn't matter whether you have this way or this way or this way or this way. It doesn't matter, as long as when you hit the ball, the racket is perpendicular. So when you hit a forehand, that should be your contact point. Now, if that grip if that feels good for you, then you have a western grip. If this feels good for you, you have a semi-western grip. If this feels good for you, then you have an eastern forehand grip. If this feels good for you, not really for me, it will be more like continental. Okay, so don't get sidetracked about, oh, should I have this grip? Should I have that grip? Should I have this or should I have that? What you need to do is you need to have the racket perpendicular to contact. That's what is most important. The other stuff doesn't really matter. And then, of course, again, heel outside, pink inside, and a slightly separation between these fingers. That's the best grip. Do that for your forehand. Bring in the left hand on top if you have a two-handed backhand. If you want to switch on top for the one-handed backhand, go ahead. If you want to do a one-handed slice, you can turn around a little more. It's easier for the backhand slice this way. But overall, play with the heel outside. And what's going to happen is, when you swing really fast, you're going to feel that locking sensation. We're going to change an overgrip. This is the easy part. Okay, hold on to this. Here, I think this is pretty much self-explanatory. You take the all grip off. Okay. And then on the you have the cellophane paper, which is actually on both sides of the grip. And what you need to do is take, see how it's coming out from both sides? So take both plastics off. This is trash. Hold on to the trash, please. Okay. And one side is flat and the other side is pointy. In the pointy side, you have a sticky part. Okay, that is going to go on the very end of the racket. It doesn't matter which side you choose. You can actually choose the top. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter as long as you're a little bit inside the end of the racket. If you put it really too much on the side, it's going to come off later on. So you want to kind of secure it inside the end cap, and then with your left hand you hold the handle, and with your right hand you stretch the grip, not too much but just enough to pressure on the handle, and you turn it around like this. And as you turn it, you work your way up the handle, giving it an overlap of about 1/8 of an inch or so. That's up to you. You can actually overlap it more if you want to. And then when you get to the very end, alright, then you secure it with what is called the finishing tape, which also has an undercoating paper there. Thank you. And this one, you also want to stretch it so that it's very secure. And then at the very end, you do something which I call it the burning, which is you hold the finishing tape in the edge of your hand and you create friction like this until you feel the heat. And that heat actually melts the glue or the finishing tape, and that finishing tape becomes extremely difficult to come off. And of course, rackets nowadays, they come up with a rubber band, which is really cool because then that rubber band goes on top of the finishing tape, and there you go, you have a brand new grip.